Hello, my name is Kolo, and welcome back to another Spice and Wolf episode review. Okay, episode 23. This episode covers chapter 4, volume 4 of the light novel, and chapters 39 and some of 40 from volume 7 of the manga. And starting the review, this episode begins where we left off with the revelation that somebody in Enbirch died from eating the bread from here, Terrio, and some of the villagers and the village elder Sem speaking about the details of the situation and how Enbirch will demand money, but of course they don't have money right now. Well, mostly wheat, that's what they're looking for. And all of the villagers are kind of scared because they've already used all the money they got from selling wheat. And then the villagers start blaming Lawrence, and they think he's at fault for all of this, and also blaming Evan. Elsa also intervenes and tries to protect Lawrence in the process. Sem is also a little suspicious of Lawrence, but he's not as gung-ho as the other villagers are about condemning him. So then after the opening plays, Lawrence starts to talk about how he thinks Enbirch orchestrated all of this to Holo, and how if they ran, that if they ran away, they'd basically be admitting to poisoning the wheat. Holo brings up the merchant association Lawrence is a part of, and if they can help in this situation. But then if they got through all of that, they then blame Evan for all of this. And because Lawrence is selfish, as he says, he'd want to take Evan and flee, but then they'd also have to take Elsa too, because she'd be the next one in danger. So then a little after they're done talking, Lawrence speaks with Sem, telling him the reason why he's here, and that he's not here because Enbirch told him to come here. Sem also says that if Lawrence lends some of his wisdom, he can guarantee his safety. Lawrence then breaks down what will happen with Enbirch wanting Terrio to pay them back, and they can haggle down the price because they're basically buying something that doesn't exist yet. And then that cycle would keep repeating, which would eventually end with the contract that Father Franz made so that they can finally get rid of it. So then after they're done speaking, Lawrence and Holo go to talk to Elsa. Lima is a little suspicious of Lawrence. She's also pretty protective of Elsa, which is definitely a good thing. When meeting Elsa, he says this line that I like, that being that they can't depend on Lawrence, but they can trust him, which means that she really knows the situation that she and the village is in. So they start speaking before Lawrence gives Evan his wallet so that he can trust him a little better. Lawrence brings up the plan of them escaping. She's a little suspicious of how they would be able to escape, that being because a horse wouldn't be enough. Holo kind of twitches her ears in response, showing that she would be the way. Also, while this is going on, Evan goes to get the book that Lawrence wanted Holo to read about Yoik. And basically after they're finished talking, Holo runs off with the book, that being because she wants to read it before they have to leave. Lawrence soon follows after her too. And while Holo is reading the book, Lawrence comes back to the place that Elsa was at to walk in on this. Kind of ironic with what happened last episode too. You can also see that she was kind of crying when Lawrence walked in. She starts speaking about what Sem and Lawrence talked about with the wheat and how they'll need money for food. And you can visibly see that she is very stressed out, and she faints with everything on her shoulders. Lima, or Ima, sits by Elsa's side while she waits for her to wake back up. Evan and Lawrence talk about this escape plan, with Evan hearing it because he was eavesdropping. He expresses that he doesn't want to die in this village, and he's sure that Elsa wants to leave this village too, with everything she's being put through. A lot of stuff like them not offering anything to the church. Evan also goes on to try to convince Elsa of escaping. Lima also asks Lawrence how he's going to get out of here, that being by a ferry, as he suggests. He then heads back to the church where Holo is done reading the book, with the book detailing what happened to Yoitz and how it got destroyed by the moon hunting bear. Polo says to Lawrence that she's satisfied that her old friends got away. She doesn't show it here, but later on you can tell that this really affects her. And I think it'll take place in the next episode, dealing with how she feels about Yoit. Polo also teases Lawrence about his speaking about trust and how that he's never blamed her for the trouble they usually get into, and that she's honestly grateful. So after this talk, they get back to the front of the church, and Lima reassures Elsa that it would be a good idea to leave with Evan. And Holo finally shows her ears to Evan and Lima, and Elsa also tells Lawrence and Holo of the back door that the church basically has, the secret tunnel. And then they get ready to leave, and they start to go through the tunnel before the episode ends. And you know, honestly, this was another very good episode. I'm still so surprised how they're able to adapt the light novel content so well, because most light novel adaptations aren't really that good, and especially for Spice and Wolf being mostly about economics, and it being pretty important to have all the pieces in place to understand all of what's going on. I think they're doing really good. I think maybe here, I think I wanted to see a little bit more emotion from Holo, but I am expecting something pretty big next episode with Holo. So I guess I'll just wait until then. You know, I really like the music right here before they're about to leave. I really don't have too many complaints with this episode. I think I'm just pretty excited for next week's episode. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time to see what happens next.